Break it down.
Assalamu alaikum. We are going to start now making curry fish. The fish we have chosen today is tilapia, and I just want to bring to your attention the pan. As always in all cooking, we just have the pan, enough oil that it covers the bottom of the pan. It doesn't have to be very high. This is going to be the base which we are going to use to fry the onions. So our first step is we are going to pick a good size onion here, which is right here. And if we don't have this size, we're just going to pick two small ones. So here's one, and I'd pick another one this size, and this should suffice. And the way we do that is we basically take the cover off from the onion, just peel it. And this is very similar to most of the things that we do when we make all types of curry. So the only substitution here, well, there's a little bit of changes in the spices, but apart from that, Sona, you have to get down. Sona is our cat who writes according to her curiosity level. Has to be part of everything regardless of whether these onions are going to be hurting his eyes or not. The onions, and putting them in a pot. And eventually, as you know, we're going to be frying the onions.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, we have already put the onions, chopped onions in the pot. And now we are ready to put the tomatoes. And you know, basically there's no special technique. You're just going to slice it little by little so they can blend in nicely and make the gravy, which is going to be very important part of the dish, because the gravy is the part in which the spices are going to be there, and the spices are going to seep nicely into the meat, and also they're going to help have the fish not burn and not get overly charred and not touching the bottom of the pan. So it has more than one purpose, definitely. So all we're doing right now is doing the tomatoes. Right after the tomatoes, in other meat dishes we would have put ginger, quite a bit of ginger. In the fish dish, the only difference is that we're not relying on ginger, but garlic becomes the dominant spice. Okay, garlic is a very important part of the fish thing. In typical dishes, we would have put just this much. That's 1 spoon. But in the fish dish, we are putting 2. Definitely putting 2. And the reason for that is, as I said earlier, garlic dominates in the fish dish. Now we're going to go in the area of other spices. So the first thing I'm going to do here, because I like it more spicy, I'm going to put a full spoon of red pepper.
Lal mirch.
Right, lal mirch. And typically what I do in a dish is more like a level, so I just heaped it a little bit more. The other spice that goes in it for sure also is turmeric. Turmeric, and I want it again. Normally in other dishes I would have put half a spoon, but in this one I'm putting the whole spoon. But a level. I won't say heaping, level.
Got it.
Level heights. You know.
Any garam masala?
Well, here's the thing. In fish, it's your choice if you want to put garam masala or not. If you want to, I wouldn't put too much. I'd just go half a spoon.
Okay, a little bit.
Yeah, garam masala is also sometimes referred to as allspice.
Allspice.
So we do that, and then we are back now.
What about some salt?
We're back to salt. And here again, I would put a heaping spoon. So I'll put that maybe a little more. Now the thing that I do with fish also is cumin seed. Cumin seed. So I'm not going to use crushed cumin. I'm going to actually use cumin seed in this recipe. And that's going to go like this.
Was that a spoon or two?
Yeah, half a spoon, but I just put it twice.
Okay.
So I'd say you can say full spoon. So we're done with the spices part.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna go and cut the fish in nice fillet sizes. All the ingredients are in the pan, as you can see. And now at this time, all we want is that the spices, onions, and everything just kind of be roasting. So it's a slow roast, it'll go on till everything gets blended in. And at this time, there's no harm in putting half a cup of water. And that just kind of secures that these onions and the rest of the stuff, ingredients, do not get charred at the bottom of the pan. So that's what I'm going to do right now, put a half a cup of water just to facilitate that. Other than that, it's the frying process. Right now is individually taking these things out, the fish fillets out of the packet individually, and then just cutting it to make it a more reasonable size.
Did it defrost enough ago?
Well, it didn't ideally do it, but here's the thing. What I would do is just this. This is a good size. And I'm going to use this. Okay, we go to the next one. We do the same thing.
Okay.
We just put just a dab of tomato paste in it. It really is for flavor because you already have a tomato base in there. But it's not a bad idea. It just gives a nice flavor. What we did is, since the fish we got had not thawed properly, and so we microwaved it. So first of all, it'll help defrosting it, and also to make the cooking even, some of it that was not cooked from inside will have a little help getting cooked. So there was a bifunction on that. It's like dual function. But primarily, this process would be totally eliminated if we didn't have the fish that was not yet frozen. So let's get back to it, and we put the fish back in there. And now it's a matter of tender, very tender. We're gonna let it cook, but it has to be very tender because you don't want the fillets to break. So just make sure it is spread out nicely, so each one of them gets to absorb the spices that we have, and also doesn't get charred from the bottom area. So that's what we are doing right now. We're just distributing it nicely, so it just kind of goes in there and almost gets the cooking surface evenly in it. Okay. It's very important that we flip these fillets so they get an equal cooking time, and that way we know that they're not going to be raw. So do flip them. Another technique that I have used, which is also very successful, and I'm going to show it to you in a minute, and that is you shake the pan in such a way that the whole area just doesn't get charred from the bottom. And I'm going to do that for you in a minute. And that's the technique you use. You'll just grab a couple of like towels or wrappers like this, and this is the shaking motion that you're going to do. You're rotating as you're seeing it's happening, and that way the oil will be equally distributed and it won't let it get charred, because the last thing you want is, because fish is very delicate, it won't take much for it to get charred with the pan. So that's what we are doing. You can do that too as well.
Okay.
I just noticed that we had just 1 spoon of salt, and that was a little less. So all I'm doing is just sprinkling a little. not too much. Other than that, the spices look absolutely fine. It has enough of everything along with the cayenne. And it's not overbearing in terms of the being hot. It's just right. I just shook it again just to kind of equalize the heat. And this fish is really within 10 minutes of being totally cooked. Alhamdulillah, this fish is within 10 minutes of being totally cooked.